land of cotton. This sports arena honors the state's great industry with a great name and a great symbol. Each year for 26 years, the name Cotton Bowl has been synonymous with the most exciting event of a minded area. From a small but dramatic beginning, the game has grown until today. It is one of the best regarded of all the New Year's Bowl ventures. The story of the Cotton Bowl begins on January 1st, 1937. A spectacular game that day between TCU and Marquette University established a pattern for great stars and thrilling football, which was to be followed in the years ahead. A lanky lad from Sweetwater, Sammy Ball, was a forward pass hero, even though the elements were against him. Ball went on to be a football immortal, and this game, conceived by J. Curtis Sanford, Dallas oil man and business executive, grew into a classic. Starting as a private enterprise in this small stadium, large enough for only 45,500 fans, it soon grew into a Dallas civic undertaking, with the stadium twice enlarged and double-decked to its present 75,500 capacity. Then in 1940, the Cotton Bowl Classic became an agency of the Southwest Conference, which subsequently voted to send its champion team, the Cotton Bowl, as host team. No other bowl association or bowl game is tied in so closely with a collegiate athletic conference. The resulting high standards have made the Classic a model for the National Collegiate Athletic Association. The 1962 game and the Cotton Bowl week preceding it add another chapter of brilliant pageantry and entertainment to the story of this great classic. Activities begin with the arrival of the University of Mississippi squad, fourth-ranked power in the nation. A few minutes later, the Texas Longhorns arrive, marking their third invasion of Dallas during the 1961 season. Presentation of cowboy-style hats, a symbol of Texas hospitality, features the welcoming ceremony. Longhorn football coach Darryl Royal brings his entire family along. First on the list of added attractions was the Texas Sports Writers Hall of Fame Luncheon, an annual highlight of a festive week. 4 new honorees were enshrined, increasing the total to 31. An enthusiastic full house greets Morris Frank, the popular Houston Chronicle columnist who served as master of ceremonies of the inspiring installation. Honored were Clyde Bulldog Turner, formerly of Hardin-Simmons and the Chicago Bears, and one of the most courageous athletes of all time, Monty Stratton, a former pitching star for the Chicago White Sox. The colorful Bibb Falk of Major League Baseball fame, who coaches perennial champions at the University of Texas. And Pete Cawthon, that beloved athletic figure whose 1938 Texas Tech team played in the Cotton Bowl Classic. Enthusiasm continued, but the tempo changed at an exciting New Year's Eve party. Host for the party, the Cotton Bowl Athletic Association, teams, administrators, and athletic staffs of other Southwest Conference schools. The climax came at the stroke of midnight, when 1,000 balloons cascaded down. Representatives of press, radio, and television joined in the joy and revelry. Later that same day, flag bearers on horseback, carrying the United States flags and the Lone Star flags, opened the Cotton Bowl Coronation Parade. Youngsters line the parade route as the Marine Band and other famed groups hold the spotlight on New Year's morning. Prize-winning floats dazzle the crowds. Ma, he's making eyes at me, claims the president's prize. The Kilgore Rangerettes have become a Cotton Bowl fixture, and certainly one of the most popular features of the pageantry. Songs of the West adds to the glamour and awe as little eyes bug with excitement. And from the Delta country comes the high-stepping Band of the South, the University of Mississippi's 116-piece band. And riding high atop the Old Man River float is Miss Anise Ray Jernigan, Miss Mississippi. Close behind comes the show band of the Southwest, the University of Texas band that is led by the beautiful Texas Stars and colorful flag bearers. And here she comes, Her Royal Majesty, the 1962 Cotton Bowl Queen, Miss Eva Gale Maxey, sweetheart of the University of Texas. The scene shifts quickly to the Cotton Bowl Stadium, where fans gather early for the #1 New Year's Day attraction. Outside the Cotton Bowl, on the grounds of the State Fair of Texas, Dixieland jazz bands give out with syncopated rhythms, reminding again of fleecy white fields and the great industry that gave the stadium and the big game a name and a symbol. Inside the bowl, thousands await a great game and a great show. And in the wings, as kickoff time nears, are the Rebels of Mississippi. Grim determination marks their anxious faces. Coach Johnny Vaught introduces his starting lineup for the national television audience. Then it's front and center for Texas. Player presentations include Mike Cotton, the Longhorn quarterback, who is to emerge as the game's top performer, and James Saxton, the skittery halfback, already acclaimed All-America. After introductions, the Football Writers' Coach of the Year award is presented to Darryl Royal by Blackie Sherrod, the vice president of the organization. Like the horns of Bevo, the Longhorn mascot, Royal's fame is widespread. Then from out of the South Ramp come the Mississippi Rebels, making their second Cotton Bowl appearance. And close behind are the Longhorns of Texas. The nation's third-ranked team is all set for a 7th test in this great classic. The Cotton Bowl's record for fine football weather has held, as referee Charles Bowen gathers the captains in midfield for the coin toss. Texas wins the toss, and Coach Cotton chooses to defend the north goal with a slight wind to his back. Mississippi elects to receive. It's kickoff time, and tackle Tommy Phillips of the Longhorns carefully placed the football on the kicking tee. And the full house of nearly 76,000 looks on as Phillips and his teammates advance. His booming kick carries to the Ole Miss 2-yard line. There it's fielded by halfback Art Doty. The Rebel senior lashes back 27 yards to the Mississippi 29 before tackle Eddie Paget hauls him down. Quarterback Doug Elmore marks the game's first signal and then hands off to fullback Buck Randell, who smacks for 4 yards. He then smiles on Texas as Elmore drops the snapback and Paget recovers for the Longhorns. That sets Texas up in business just 26 yards from the Mississippi goal line. And it's strength against strength as tackle Jim Dunaway checks Ray Pogue's thrust for no gain at left tackle. It's Dunaway again with an assist from end Ralph Smith as they dump Cotton for a loss of 7 yards. With 4th and 17 from the 33, Texas bids for a field goal. Tommy Ford holds and Eldon Moritz kicks. But the attempt is partially blocked by end Woody Dabbs, and the Rebels take over on their own 10-yard line. Having advanced 7 yards of ground, Elmore takes to the air and completes a 12-yard pass to Randall. Doty works a count on the 34. Elmore rolls out to his left, eludes linebacker Pat Culpepper, who shoots the gap and is finally hauled down after a gain of 8 by Duke Carlisle, Tommy York, and Tommy Lucas. Doty sweeps to the right, evades one tackler, and is brought down after a gain of 13 by Dave Russell. Elmore heads in the same direction with good interference, but Longhorn Bob Moses fights his way through and stops Elmore for a gain of only 1. It's back to the air for Elmore, but Jerry Cook of the Longhorns intercepts. The big halfback retreats to the 21 and then threads his way to the 33-yard line before the Rebels arrest him. Texas couldn't go, and a few plays later, the Rebels are in the air again. Glenn Griffing on the trigger. This pass from his own 21 is intercepted by Ford, who dives to make the catch and give Texas possession on the Ole Miss 34. There's obvious concern on the Rebel sideline, even Johnny Rebs talks about, and apparently with good reason. For Culpepper takes a pitch out and romps to the Mississippi 22, behind sharp blocks by York, Russell, and Ford. The defense is stacked now as James Saxton gets only 2 yards at left guard. Turning blocker, Saxton helps Russell clear a path as Pogue eludes a tackler and scurries to the Rebel 11-yard line. It works so well, it's tried again, and this time the big fullback romps to the 5. All of a sudden, the goal line beckons. Saxton goes in motion to the right. Russell takes a pitch out and races wide to the left. He reaches the lip of the goal behind great blocking. Now, let's take a second look at that in slow motion. Watch both guards pull. Left guard George Brooks, number 66, gets the right end and the right tackle with an assist from David McWilliams, number 50, the other guard. Lucas comes across to bump Lewis Guy, and Elmore arrives just in time to check Russell at the goal line. Saxton takes a pitch from Cotton and strikes quickly at right guard, crossing the stripe before the aroused Rebels thrust him back. And Texas leads 6-0 with just 47 seconds left in the first quarter. The conversion attempt was blocked, and on the first play of the second quarter, the Rebs gain only 2 yards at left guard. On 3rd and 4, Griffing faces a handoff and goes airborne again. Pat Culpepper snares it and gets back to the Mississippi 41 with Texas' 3rd interception. That stirs enthusiasm among the Texas fans. Quarterback Mike Cotton calls on Saxton, but he goes for only 1 yard. The same combo turns the trick for a gain overhead this time, with Cotton passing in the left flat to Saxton. A play good for 10 yards, and it takes 4 to bulldog him. Cotton wants to keep a good thing going, but the Rebels will have no part of it. Bookie Bolin and Woody Dabbs swarm him for a loss of 8 yards. Choosing a different target this time, Cotton fires to Jack Collins, and it's good for a gain of 6 in the right flat. Collins gets the call again, but Richard Ross pulls the ball from his grasp, and Ole Miss takes charge on its 32 as Jerry Brown recovers. Coach Royal paces the sideline with anxiety, but 6 plays later, the Longhorns have the ball again and are operating back in their own territory. Bolin halts Pogue after a gain of 3 at left tackle. Then Saxton sends up a flare and gets 5 yards on Cotton's toss into the right flat before stepping out of bounds. The next aerial finds Saxton to the left, and it's good for a first down on the Texas 39. Mississippi puts the rush on and tosses Cotton for a loss of 3, although he was able to evade the first wave of chargers. Undaunted, the spirited Cotton decides to do it the hard way. He heads to the right, cuts behind a block by Don Talbert, then makes tough yardage look easy as he goes for 27 yards before Smith overtakes him. Once out of the South 40, Cotton utilizes all of his guns. Saxton gets only 2 yards. So Cotton looks to Ford in the left flat and connects with a pass good for 12 yards. Guy and Dabbs finally hobble the sophomore halfback. This time, Ford goes in motion, and Pogue catches a pitch out on first bounce and fights back to cut the deficit to only 1 yard. That leaves it 2nd and 11 from the Rebel 24 when Cotton gets the range on Collins. The deceptive halfback fakes 2 Rebel defenders out of position, then speeds by them down the east sideline as sophomore Charles Talbert comes back upfield to throw an assisting block. Jack races across untouched, and Texas leads 12-0. Frustration delays the Rebels' bid to strike back, and 3 plays after the subsequent kickoff, they are still on their own 21-yard line. Then lightning strikes. Griffin fires to Dabbs for a gain of 32 and a first on the Texas 47. Almost nonchalantly, he connects with a guy named Lewis for 24 and a first at the Texas 23. The Husky quarterback mounts the launching pad once again and gets the beat on Art Doty for a gain of 16 yards and a first down on the Texas 7 with time running out in the first half. Then Griffin decides to go for broke. He aims at Wes Sullivan in the end zone, but linebacker Johnny Treadwell tips the ball in the air. Jerry Cook picks it off for Texas' 4th interception within 28 minutes. Cook runs it out to the 10-yard line. A look at that in slow motion is graphic proof that Griffin, after 3 interceptions, finally learned that his boomerang would come back. The Longhorns were content to run out the halftime clock in nursing a 12-0 lead. An inspiring show, typical of the Cotton Bowl, entertained the enthusiastic throng during the intermission. The University of Mississippi unveiled a tribute to the host state of Texas by rolling back the Lone Star flag. Then, as a Confederate flag was passed over the bandsmen, they, with a touch of magic, changed the tribute from Texas, T-E-X-A-S, to Dixie, D-I-X-I-E. The even bigger Texas band, pridefully acclaimed the Show Band of the Southwest, forms its own version of the Lone Star flag in highlighting its dazzling formations. And in a fitting climax for this colorful extravaganza, Miss Penny Percy, newly crowned Maid of Cotton from Woodburn Sportsmanship Trophy to Carlisle Smith, President of the Texas Tech Student Association. The second half opens with Phillips once again kicking off. He boots it to Doty, who takes it on the 12 and returns to the Mississippi 21. Guy strikes at left tackle and is held to a gain of 3 yards by David Christening. Then Griffin takes the ball, tosses to Doty in the left flat for a gain of 6 yards, with Russell making the stop. Moore takes over at quarterback. He slides through right guard for 4 yards and a first down. The Rebels pick up another first down before a first down aerial effort by Elmore backfires. Once again, it's Jerry Cook on the ball-hawking end. Midway of the period, after 2 exchanges of possession, Cotton attempts to pass from his own 37. His arm is hit, and Chuck Morris intercepts at the Longhorn 39. 3 plays, net only 3 yards, which calls for a 4th down punt. Elmore lifts one to the Texas 11, and Russell returns it to the 13. That sets the stage for Saxton to demonstrate his versatility. He quick kicks, and the ball rolls dead on the Ole Miss 14, a 73-yard punt. Then, in rapid order, the jigsaw pieces begin falling in place for the Rebels. Morris darts off right guard for 6. And, headed off at his left, Griffin reverses his field and speeds for 8 around left end before Scott Appleton rides him down on the Ole Miss 28. Morris adds 3 through heavy traffic at the middle, but Holloway is halted at the line of scrimmage by Appleton and Dean Gott. On 3rd and 7, Griffin sets his sights on A.J. Holloway, and the halfback makes a fine catch and a run for 17 yards. Fred Roberts moves it into Texas territory with 3 at the middle, setting the stage for one of the day's best runs. Griffin scampers for 29 yards as he rolls out to the left and gains momentum with each step. Opportunity is knocking once again for the Rebels, and they are quick to open the door. Griffin runs wide, then just before reaching the line of scrimmage, fires to Reed Davis, who wins a battle for possession in the end zone. It's a touchdown and the climax of an 86-yard drive. Wes Sullivan throws the uprights for the extra point, and Texas' lead is whittled to 5 points, 12-7. As the last quarter opens, Texas has possession on the Ole Miss 29. Then on 3rd and 10, Pogue takes a pitch out at left end and gallops for 18 yards and a first down on the Rebel 11-yard line. Jerry Cook burrows for 3 at right guard. But then, an attempted deception backfires against the Longhorns. Collins loses 7 on a double reverse with Sullivan manhandling him. Cotton chooses to go for the clincher and attempts a pass down the middle. But Fred Letjes picks it off on the 7-yard line and gets back to the 11. After an exchange of possession, the Rebels are operating from their own 45-yard line with almost half of the final period remaining. Griffin connects with Guy for a gain of 5 yards. The next offering is to Doty, and it clicks for 8 as Collins makes the tackle. Then Griffin lights a shuck and ball stops as he heads around left end. That's power with a capital P as he spins his way to 31 before Lucas finally jolts him out of bounds. It's Griffin to Guy again for 6 yards, but the Rebel quarterback is shackled by Lucas and Treadwell as he attempts to strike to his left again. A third pass was bat, then with 4 and 2 from the Texas 23. Moses crashes through and drops Griffin for a loss of 1. Bruck assists the Longhorn end, who later was named the game's outstanding lineman. Texas took over on down. Each team had possession twice thereafter, but every bid was stymied, and the game ended with Texas earning another Cotton Bowl triumph. The final score, Texas 12, Mississippi 7. The Longhorn Band join hands in toasting the visitors and writing the final chapter of the glorious 1962 Cotton Bowl week.